Breaking news from 16 News Now.
We are coming on the air this afternoon with this split screen moment. Take a look at the right of your screen. They are showing the family of Libby Jerming walking into court. Libby and her friend Abby Williams are at the heart of the Delphi Murders case. The accused killer, Richard Allen's family, also walking into court. You see this all happening just hours ago. This is how day one started, and one of the biggest cases in Indiana history. And we're also getting our first look at the sketch from inside of the courtroom. You see it there just into our newsroom, literally in the last 5 minutes. So this is the day the prosecution has been building to for years. And our team has been on the ground for every dramatic and emotional moment already on day one. I want to bring in Erica Jimenez. She joins us live from Delphi. So Erica, let's first talk about what happened in court earlier this morning.
Yeah, Josh, a lot to unpack. A lot of information just came out. We actually just held a meeting like 5 minutes ago, so a lot of notes to go through here. Let's get started with what happened this morning. Attorneys representing the families had an emotional opening statement, but underscored to the jury that Allen admitted being there. In fact, one of the attorneys said for 5 years, he lived in this community, he worked in this community, he hid in plain sight. He forced them down the hill, and the last face the girls saw, because their throats were slit, was Richard Allen's face. That was exactly what they said this morning. Now, for Allen's defense attorneys, they began their statement by saying Richard Allen is innocent, telling the jury to please wait before you make a decision. They're trying to cast the doubt that Allen was even on the Moon and Trail Bridge when the girls were there. He also cited issues with the evidence which the prosecution lost and we will never see. They even went graphic with the fact that 2 blades were used to slit the girls' necks, and the cuts were not consistent with what the state claims Richard Allen used, which is a box cutter. Now, for this afternoon, we heard from Derek Jerming. He's the father of Libby, and this is the first time he speaks about the case publicly, so that was something big. As I mentioned, we just went in a meeting 5 minutes ago, and they said that it was a very emotional afternoon. It was just family talking about that day, what they remembered from that day.
Let's talk about the sketches really quickly, because I think that's really, really important. So is the judge allowing those sketches? The sketches we're talking about here is showing up on the screen for our viewers. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, yesterday the judge said she would make the decision today, and she did before opening statements. They will not be used in the trial. We verified that.
Okay. Set the scene outside the courtroom today. When you first got there, what did you see?
Yeah, we've been out here all day. It's been very tight here. Security's been walking around, police officers, cop cars are everywhere. They're keeping the media on the sidewalk. They don't want us on the lawn. So even to get in, there was a line today. When we came in, there was 50 people, and it was 8 a.m. at the time. And the other thing we want to talk about this morning, we mentioned that all the people that were in line were able to get in, which was kind of confusing because yesterday the judge said only 27 people would get a seat. But it turns out from one of the reporters in there was everybody made it in, but if you didn't have a seat at the time the trial started, you were forced to leave the room. So those people did not make it inside. That
makes sense. Okay, we were trying to clarify that, and you clarified that just now. We appreciate it. Really quickly, talk about the courtroom rules, if you will, the decorum. I know you're learning a lot. It seems like by the hour there. What can you tell us about that and the scheduling as well?
Yeah, no cameras or cell phones will be allowed in the courtroom. Actually, some media companies got banned from this trial because they tried to bring cameras earlier today. We heard 5 cameras were confiscated, and they will be banned for the remainder of this trial. So they're keeping it very tight in there. Security, as I said, is everywhere, and they are checking everyone who goes into the courthouse.
I want to ask you really quickly before I let you go, Erica. You talked about meeting one of the family members of the victims here. What happened with that interaction? Because that was, I mean, that caught you off guard. Explain that to us really quickly.
Yeah. I just want to say that that was the most special part of my day. This is when we were setting up. This was around 8 a.m. this morning. Me and my photographer were just standing outside the courthouse, and this older gentleman walked up to me and he pointed out our WNDU hoodies. He said he grew up watching WNDU. We had a normal conversation, you know, viewer conversation. I told him I appreciated him watching, and I asked him towards the end of that conversation, "Are you here to watch the trial?" He said, "Yeah, I'm actually Abby's grandfather." So it was, you know, so beautiful to interact with him in that way. He seemed at peace. He seemed calm. We wished him the best, and he made his way indoors.
Yeah, and now we know that not only Abby's grandfather is there, Libby's grandfather is as well. You guys saw that earlier this morning. So a packed courtroom, Erica. We appreciate the reporting. We know you got to go back to a lot before court ends for the day. We appreciate you bringing this to us, all this brand new reporting. Thank you.